Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the incredible Hulk Hogan!
Hulk Hogan's $25 million empire was built in the ring, but the fight for it is just beginning.
The professional wrestling and entertainment star Hulk Hogan has died in the US.
After his death, a shocking secret came to light. A Florida law that hands millions to his new wife, Sky Daly. This bombshell reveal completely sidelines other family members. But here's the kicker. His daughter, Brooke, actively rejected her share of the fortune, exposing a dark family history that money couldn't fix. The distribution of Hogan's wealth is a masterclass in unexpected twists, where the biggest winners and losers were decided long before the will was even opened. Hogan's final main event. Hulk Hogan, the man-born Terry Bollea, was a pop culture earthquake. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was the face of a generation, a real-life superhero with a 24-inch python for an arm and a personality that filled stadiums. He body-slammed Andre the Giant in front of 93,000 screaming fans, starred in movies, and had his own TV show. Hulkamania wasn't just a brand, it was a phenomenon that built an empire estimated at a massive $25 million. But when the Giant fell on July 24, 2025, at the age of 71, the empire he built began to shake. The question on everyone's mind was simple: who gets the money? You see, this wasn't just a case of opening a will. This was a tangled web of old wounds, new marriages, and legal time bombs. Hogan's fortune didn't just appear overnight. It was forged in the fire of countless main events. At his peak in the 80s and 90s, he was the king of the WWE, commanding up to $1 million for a single WrestleMania appearance. In 1997 alone, after his shocking jump to rival company WCW, he pocketed a cool $13 million. But the ring was only part of the story. Hollywood came calling. He earned $15,000 for his memorable role in Rocky III, a number that seems tiny now but skyrocketed his fame. Later, he was pulling in $1 to $2 million per movie for films like Mr. Nanny. Then came reality TV, where Hogan Knows Best paid him $3 million over its 4 seasons, giving the world a peek behind the curtain. And let's not forget the lawsuit that rocked the media world. His infamous battle against Gawker Media ended with a $31 million settlement. After the lawyers and taxes took their cut, Hogan walked away with roughly $10 million in cash. On top of all that, he had businesses. Hogan's Beach Shop, a restaurant called Hogan's Hangout, and his new Real American Beer launched in 2024. His $11.5 million mansion in Clearwater, Florida was the crown jewel of his assets. Royalties and appearance fees kept the money flowing, adding about $250,000 a year, even in his later life. But here's the thing nobody wants to talk about. The fortune was already cracked. His messy 2009 divorce from his first wife, Linda, was a financial body blow. She walked away with 70% of their liquid assets, a $3 million property settlement, and a 40% stake in his businesses. The grand total was about $7.4 million, a massive chunk of his wealth gone. So the $25 million figure is what was left after the dust settled. And now, 4 key people were circling that remaining treasure: his new wife of 2 years, Sky Daly, his estranged daughter, Brooke, his son, Nick, and even his ex-wife, Linda, who was making noise from the sidelines. Each of them had a potential claim, but one of them was legally guaranteed a fortune, even if Hogan had written them out completely. But the person with the ironclad claim wasn't the one you'd expect. Brooke's bombshell decision. In any inheritance story, you expect the children to be front and center, ready to claim their share of the family legacy. But this is not any inheritance story. The most stunning twist in the battle for Hulk Hogan's $25 million comes from his own daughter, Brooke Hogan. Here's the bombshell. In 2023, a year before her father's passing, Brooke reportedly requested to be completely removed from his will. Let that sink in. She didn't want the millions. She didn't want a piece of the empire. She wanted out. Why would anyone walk away from a multi-million-dollar inheritance? The answer, it seems, is rooted in years of pain and distrust. You see, the relationship between Brooke and her famous father was far from the happy family image portrayed on Hogan Knows Best. Sources close to Brooke revealed a deep estrangement that had lasted for years. She cited a long history of verbal and mental mistreatment dating back to her childhood. More than that, she had a profound distrust of the people managing her father's affairs. She believed his inner circle didn't have his best interests at heart and foresaw a nasty legal battle after his passing, a battle she wanted no part of. It was a clear message. Her peace of mind was worth more than his money. Now, let's be real for a second. This decision is almost unheard of. It speaks volumes about the fractured state of the Hogan family. Brooke and her father reportedly had no contact for years. He never even met his own twin grandchildren, Oliver and Molly Jean, Brooke's kids. Her choice was a powerful and public rejection of not just the money, but of the man himself. Instead of a direct cut of the $25 million estate, Brooke is the beneficiary of a small life insurance trust. It's a fraction of what she could have inherited, and she plans to use it solely for her children's college funds. It's a practical, forward-thinking move, completely detached from the drama of the main estate. But get this, here is where things get really messy. Just because Brooke asks to be removed doesn't mean she's out of the picture. Legally, as his child, she could still contest the will. If she feels the distribution is unfair, or that her father was not of sound mind when he made his final decisions, she could launch a legal challenge that would throw the entire estate into chaos. It would trigger a process called probate, freezing all the assets and dragging the family's dirty laundry into a public courtroom. Her decision to walk away was meant to avoid a fight, but ironically, she still holds the power to start the biggest one of all. But while Brooke stepped away, a Florida law pushed another woman to the front of the line. The $7 million widow Sky Daly. A yoga instructor and business coach, she lived a life far from the roar of the wrestling ring. She married Hulk Hogan in September of 2023, becoming his third wife. Their marriage lasted just under 2 years before his passing. In the grand scheme of Hogan's long and dramatic life, it was a brief chapter. But in the legal world of inheritance, that short time is all that matters. Because of a powerful and often overlooked piece of Florida law, Sky Daly is positioned to inherit a fortune. Here's the deal, and it's a complete game changer. Florida has something called the spousal elective share. Think of it as a safety net for a surviving spouse. The law states that a widow or widower is legally entitled to 30% of their deceased spouse's elective estate, no matter what the will says. It doesn't matter if Hogan had a will from 10 years ago, leaving everything to his kids. It doesn't matter if he forgot to update his paperwork. The moment he and Sky said, "I do," this law kicked in. 30% of a $25 million estate is a staggering $7.5 million. Believe it or not, this law was designed to protect spouses from being unfairly disinherited. But in a situation like this, it creates a scenario where a wife of less than 2 years gets a bigger guaranteed payday than the children who have been there their whole lives. For Sky Daly, whose own net worth was modest, this is a life-altering windfall. This is where Hogan's own planning, or lack thereof, becomes critical. The Hulkster was known for being a savvy businessman. He had set up revocable and personal trusts, complex legal tools designed to do one thing: keep his estate out of the hands of creditors and avoid the nightmare of probate court. It was a smart move. However, the real kicker is that these trusts are only effective if they are properly managed. Estate experts point to one potentially fatal flaw. Did Hogan remember to update his trust to reflect his new marriage to Skye? If he didn't, or if the updates were incomplete, it could create loopholes and inconsistencies that lawyers dream of. A simple oversight, a piece of paper not signed, could undermine his entire financial strategy. It would leave his carefully constructed financial fortress vulnerable to attack, not just from disgruntled family members, but from anyone he ever owed money to. And with millions on the line, the other members of the Hogan clan were watching very, very closely. The ghosts of Hogan's past with Skye. Daly legally guaranteed her $7.5 million, and Brooke Hogan on the sidelines. For now, two other key figures remain in the shadows: Hogan's son Nick and his infamous ex-wife Linda. This is where the story moves from legal facts to a tense, unpredictable waiting game. The calm before the storm. First, there's Nick Hogan. Unlike his sister, Nick's relationship with his father was less public, and consequently, his place in the will is a total mystery. Is he set to inherit a significant portion? Was he given a smaller, specific amount? Or was he, like his sister, left with very little? There has been almost no information about Nick's potential inheritance, making him the wild card in this entire drama. His silence could mean he's satisfied with what he was left, or it could mean he's preparing his own legal challenge behind the scenes. Then there's the ghost of Hogan's past, Linda. Their divorce was one of the most bitter and public splits in celebrity history. She already received a massive $7.4 million settlement back in 2009. In the eyes of the law, she has no further claim to his estate, but that hasn't stopped her from making comments to the media that hint at unresolved issues. While her legal standing is weak, she could still attempt to file a claim, arguing over unresolved aspects of their divorce agreement or trust they once shared. It's a long shot, but a famous ex-wife with a grudge can cause a lot of expensive trouble, even if she doesn't win. So what does this all mean for the average person wondering how a $25 million fortune gets so complicated? Here's the bottom line. It all comes down to avoiding probate court. If Brooke contests, or Nick contests, or Linda finds a clever lawyer, the whole estate gets thrown into the legal system. And let's be real, probate is where fortunes go to die. The average probate case in Florida can drag on for 20 months and cost tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees, or much more for an estate this large. All of Hogan's assets would be frozen. The businesses, the bank accounts, the properties, everything would be vulnerable to creditors who could come out of the woodwork to claim a piece. It would be a public spectacle, unraveling the Hulkster's legacy one legal bill at a time. Are we missing a key detail here? The thing is, this whole mess shows that even for a global icon, family drama and a few unsigned papers can turn a carefully built empire into a battlefield. So, a new wife gets millions while his own daughter walks away. Is this a story of justice or a broken family's final chapter? Let us know what you think below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.